Alright guys, what's up? Thank you for clicking on the video. So, in this one, we're going to cover some C5 stuff. Man, this looks crazy in this car. Oh, this is a game changer. I'm just saying. Specifically, the screen development. Again, I'm going to show the engineers here. We were working through a lot of things, and I was corrupting them a little bit. Check this out. So, hey, look, I'm doing what Americans do, right? So I'm just introducing them to, I'm keeping up foreign relations, like Hunter. C5, C6, we're going to get into the screens. We're going to get into the more development side of things. I want to talk to you guys about compromise. Compromise when it comes to the development. Compromise when it comes to the form and function of the C5 unit. I got these guys. I'm giving them an experience of their lives, and they're helping me out. They're helping you guys develop something. They're just people. We're out here working together, and I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna during this video, I got to show you guys. Look at this. Look at this. This comes, you guys think I live out in sand dunes out here in Las Vegas if you're out in the east. This grows in my yard. This is the best plum. I swear to God, the best plum I've ever had since I was a child. And it comes from a tree I don't even take care of. Stick around, you're watching KDTV.
I always wanted to build fast cars, so self-taught I started with engine swaps, composites in my apartment to multiple shops, tuning, fabrication, and more. 10 years later, the big time, SEMA, Speed TV, a climb from nothing, but I lost it all. This is my new ride, KnightDriveTV. When failure is not an option, us car guys keep banging the gears of life.
Alrighty, so the deal is here, we're just getting everything taken out and prepared because so the engineers and the kind of the team rep, they are coming from San Jose right now, and so we're pulling this out. We're going to be scanning data directly from this, but the joke's on me because my display's not working now. So to go through the modes and to see what we're doing, that doesn't work, and I think my air conditioning has quit working. So what's funny is I had somebody come out here. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name because I have so many people and I don't even know if you're watching, but came out here on a convention and they had the headlight kit on the C5, of course. He was like, hey, if you could bring it to me, that'd be cool, to get on the plane and take it back. So, and I pulled up in the new vehicle, which I haven't shown the channel yet. Yes, we have an off-road vehicle that I'm changing. And guys, look, I'm sorry I have off-road on this channel. I have to do it. This is my channel. I just have to do it. So he saw what I pulled up in. He was like, oh man, I thought you'd pull up in a Vette. And I'm like, no, my Vette's kind of like a development whore. So yeah, that's the problem. I really want to get my C5 out on the street again. It hasn't seen sun. This has happened so many times because I'm always creatively doing something with the car versus driving the car. So anyway, back to tearing my car apart for KnightDriveTV. So yeah, we're going to be taking this out of here, and I'm going to reflow the resistors. All right, so for those of you who don't watch the channel, yes, this is kind of like an apartment up here. It's above the shop, and this is where we manufacture the lights. Got some inventory stuff, but we do have some stock here. Kelsey hasn't been working the middle of this week. She's been gone for 2 weeks again. She got some surgery. That's all we're going to say for now, but she is enhanced.
As they say, give them the jiggle with the giggle, right?
Yeah, we're going to reflow these solder joints on these resistors. This is the issue. Those solder joints get cold, crack, they degrade. You can look at them close and tell they don't look too good. So I had to put another tip on here, much more precise. This solder is too big. This is 1.2 millimeter diameter. This is what we use to make the headlight kits. I was able to reflow them. I just kind of heated them up. Didn't add much material, just enough to try and make them a little bit shiny.
So I was able to get that fix done, and I was testing the radio. Little Breaking Benjamin left the volume on full bore. Kind of funny.
Oh God, watch the music be loud. We were testing it last night. Testing the radio last night. All right, there we go. We've got the kind of the first iteration because you can see we have a little gap there that is going to have to be closed up. So just the first initial one, but has potential. Yeah, so he's in here doing his work. We got the team. What's their names? Emma. That's Emma. And then who's it?
This is Mr. One.
Mr. One.
And Mr. Fan.
So over the next several hours, we did various testing, and the one engineer just didn't feel like my dual zone control was working correctly. I felt pretty confident it was, but the GM just didn't have a variation capability really built into the system. Still wanting to be sure, I reached out to you guys watching and following via Instagram for some local help. After a short time, one of you guys said, hey, I can be there in 45 minutes. So with that, we did some testing on another car.
Yeah, we're pulling in another Corvette, so they're going to be scanning some other things that have to do with the air conditioning system. So I reached out to you guys, and Austin came through. So, oh, he got the YOLO.
YOLO. You only live once.
He got that YOLO action.
How you guys doing?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Damien, what's up, man?
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. I messaged you like a while back, man.
Yeah, did you?
Just I PCS'd here a while back. It's so funny.
E-brake work good?
She had
Yeah, you can roll back?
She had a tattoo inside her lip that said YOLO.
All right, so we're checking out the dual function to see, you know, if it's going to be cool on one side. So that's what he's working on now. So Austin, he rescued us. He came out here from the Air Force, and he's out here in Nevada. So he brought out the YOLO. He said his wife, that credits his wife. So yeah, he brought it out, and we kind of did some testing. It was pretty quick. So, you know, we figured out what we need to figure out. I appreciate it, bro.
No problem, man.
So the conclusion was the dual zone C5 system doesn't get much variation. Searches on Corvette forum and the owner's manual show very little effect with the system, maybe a 3-degree swing at max.
What'd you think of all this, Lace? What's your thoughts on this whole process?
It's a lot. There's a lot going on. I personally like the look of it. Even though like this is a crude model, I like what I see so far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my personal opinion.
This guy's dedicated. Isn't he, Emma?
Yes.
Emma's like impressed even, I think. He's going. Emma has to stop them. You like kind of mother them. That's the truth, right? You mother them. You like make them stop sometimes. You kind of do.
I just asked him to finish the job.
You're like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Yeah, so we're working hard. So we got good progress today, right?
Yeah.
Got everything kind of squared away on
Yes,
C5.
auto is okay.
Yeah, so we got to do the manual AC stuff tomorrow.
My
So
Chinese
helpful.
is a little better.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Or Spanish, though. She pull out some Spanish.
A little bit.
Yeah, so. But yeah, it's gone well. So we're going to have another subscriber to KnightDriveTV going to come help us tomorrow. And then, oh, that's my. Oh, Lace. That's it right there.
There's just certain things that get you.
Oh, that's the benefit of when you got some Chinese engineers. They listen to some good stuff. No copyright from YouTube on that, or maybe they will. Would they get it?
It's a good question.
Well, guys, everybody's left. It was a pretty tough day, but we went through all the HVAC system for the automatic control unit, and then all the radios done. So C5, it proved to be a bit easier in some ways. So yeah, I mean, we have a manual car coming over tomorrow that has the 3 knobs for those of you that have the 3 knobs. So yeah, fast forward tomorrow. Alrighty. We're testing some things, kind of going through, making good progress though. Oh, he's popping things in. Pop, 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 pop. Oh God, he's shorter than me. Oh, he pulled a fast one. He pulled a fast one. He crunched me in my own car. All right, it's install time with Emma. She's earning her pay.
Work injury.
Yeah, because you're a short engineer.
So at this point, Emma and I looked at kind of the preliminary install and some of the function of the unit. I wanted to be able to show her things that I was concerned about and things that I wanted to have ahead. So she kind of looks at that, translates that to them, and then that's kind of how the development process works in terms of what I want to see in the unit. So what was really lying ahead was to get another car in here with the triple knob set up, and we were waiting. And this is where things proved to start getting challenging. This company, I talked to them about the complexities of older HVAC systems, and I don't think they were quite prepared for the vacuum setup and things like that. So Emma was pretty intrigued by my removable steering wheel, so I thought I'd show it to her here. She had never seen that before.
Clicks it right into that.
Clicks it right in. All right, got some help here. Pulling the center console apart. We got this here because, as you could probably see, he has the triple knob set up. I have the screen on my Z06. So that's kind of the plan, is to work out the vent control and everything using the other non-dual zone. So that's that. He's ready. This guy, he's fueled up on Burger King. So we got the ZR1 idling out here. Had to get it out of the way. Love how ZR1 sounds. It's a little different from an LS, you know what I mean? Sounds cool, but it's sitting out here. Hopefully it's not overheated or anything weird. She's out here doing good. Okay. Okay, so the manual, well, not the manual, but yes, the manual setup that uses the vacuum. We had to tear this apart, so they're gonna be figuring this out. Emma?
Yes, we're gonna figure it out.
You confident? Emma is confident.
Because the way you proposed my work.
I'm telling you now, people in the C5 community, we crack this.
Yeah.
They're gonna be boom, 100%. They're gonna be loved.
Oh my God. C6 is revolutionary. This is
Yeah.
also epic.
So after doing some analysis of this triple knob unit, it was determined we're going to have to kind of get back to this. So they wrapped things back up. We put the car back and we had a little fun. You need to...
Yeah.
He likes it. He likes it.
We only see in
Yeah,
movie.
in movie. Yeah.
And a sword?
Yeah, then you stabbed him, bayonet.
Yeah, you run out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Japanese movie.
哦，这个好重哦，
No, it's safe, safe.
这个好重哦，这个。
Oh my God! How can I attack people? I can't even. This is too heavy for me.
It's taller than you.
Just some good harmless fun. But when Emma got back to Texas, she sent me this picture. Check her out.
So that's right. At this point, I have a fully functioning unit in a C6, and I have the fully functioning unit in the C5. Now, this is the alpha unit. This is the very first one. A lot of things are going to change, so don't worry about certain things. Some of you guys, man, I'm doing a little electronic things. I'm not going to leave C4 out, surprisingly. And I know y'all are probably like, you're going to put a big screen in the C4. No, I'm not. Actually, this is going to be a different product. By developing the C6 and the C5 unit together, it gives us a good opportunity to always support both, and it's just by spreading the cost. So the upfront cost of these, all right guys, so that brings us to the section of the video here where I'm going to go through a few questions, a few topics, I guess, pertaining to these screens. I'm going to try and put a little list right here so you can kind of understand where things are going, how long it's going to take, and whatnot. So I'm going to pull up some notes I have here, and that way we can kind of cover a lot of topics for you C5 and C6 guys. So let's start by talking about the origin of the idea. And I just wanted to let people know, you know, I develop products that I think inspire me and that I would want. In this particular case, I had a customer, James Davis, who has the Sleepy Eye headlight kit, the squares. And he contacted me in August of 2022 and said, hey, you know, I've kind of done this custom unit setup in my car. You can see here in the photos. And so basically, you know, he custom installed this screen that he purchased. He had a couple, it sounds like a couple companies or a couple people help him. Kind of like custom interior and custom audio has been for years. You know, you use fiberglass or you use material with resins, things like that. You can create a custom console, smooth it out, obviously paint it. And you can see he has a like custom paint. I think it's him and one or two other people in his circle that they created these initial kind of concepts, so to speak, for their own car. He contacted me and he said, man, yeah, I've had a really good response to this. And, you know, people have implied to me that they would pay, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 for a setup like this if they could have it. You know, and then he asked me what I thought. So in terms of the concept of the product, it's, you know, I don't necessarily have to make what I think really inspires me, but I thought, you know, as a challenge, I could take it on. I could figure out how to develop the product with the resources that I had. And so that's kind of what initiated it. So in SEMA of last year, I was walking through kind of scanning vendors, looking at other companies to network with, and I came across the company that I'm working with now. So we discussed the project. We, talked about some different targets and things like that. And initially, I'd approached them to kind of do what James Davis's setup is. So let me explain that setup a little bit better. So in his case, he took this particular screen right here. This is a Cadillac Escalade screen. I think it was for 2017, 18. I'm not quite certain, but I can't recall off the top of my head. But this is what he grafted. He kind of, grafted in, we'll say, into his OEM console. Now you see he had a stock. The stock look is gone. He's obviously had to paint it because it's been body worked. So it becomes a very custom look. No manual controls or anything like that. This is solely operating in his C5 as a radio with an Android interface and things. He uses Bluetooth volume controls, and he tucked his HVAC controls into his glove box. So we discussed a lot of that and the approach of what that would take. So this unit here is $900 on Amazon. And so just to be clear, this unit is running Android 9. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 64 gig hard drive. So in the case of what I'm building here is in terms of these screens, just to let you know how we have upgraded and taken that all to the next level. What I'm building here has Android 11 on board, the most advanced version of that Android 11 is highly developed, and then it's a 8 gigabyte with an 8-core processor. This would have a 4-core, and then we have 128 gigabyte hard drive. So we've put a lot on board to make this a viable product for years ahead with various updates and things like that. So in conclusion, talking to James, what I had told him was, making a turnkey kit or something that's plug and play would be my objective. Obviously, I didn't agree that $4,000 or $5,000 was reasonable. I think to put it in position in the market, I determined that, it would be at its max point. I felt like $2,500. So that was my initial kind of region where I thought anything beyond that is probably not going to sell, not going to do well, and even 25 was pushing it. My position on the whole console thing was, injection molding something that large, matching the textures of the C5 interior, matching the gloss. You're going to end up with something that doesn't quite suit the interior. And plus, you don't have all black C5 interiors. You've got slate grays and tans and things like that. So again, you would be eliminating a lot of the potential customers. And even though there are still 200,000, there was 230,000 C5s, however many of those are still on the road, then you divide that by how many want this product. It makes a pretty small pool. And so it's a risky venture. And that's what I conveyed to him. It's a risky venture. I would have to look into it. So after I met the company in SEMA, we talked about the Escalade screen. I thought of maybe doing some type of adapting, kit that could make it work kind of like his. But lo and behold, we got more and more in depth with it. And so I kind of kept silent on it because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it done or not. But lo and behold, we came out with a C6 kit that was fully operational on the HVAC and everything. So that's now obviously carried over into the C5. So that's where we're at. I think that in terms of pricing, I'm surprised I got it as low as I did. Given the cost of the hardware, the cost of development, this unit alone costs more than that Cadillac screen cost retail. So it costs more to manufacture than $1,000. So as with all hardware components and developments and things like that, I could see maybe in another 1-year cycle of being able to get a better pricing on some of the components. The company that I'm working with, they are the largest buyer of this particular Qualcomm chipset. They have about 55% of their production volume, so they get a very good cost, and that cost comes to me, but inevitably that's still what this costs. So in releasing and kind of showing people the C5 version, I have had a lot of mixed reviews in terms of people saying, man, I'd really like it to be this one-piece console and things, in which I just kind of talked about why that's difficult. You have texture issues, you have color matching issues, you have logistics issues when it comes to shipping a part that big, mold fees, mold costs, and then inevitably, I would love to see these sell through in the hundreds or even thousands of units, but inevitably I have to really decide like what's my target of legitimately what do I think is going to sell. It's a risky product, so
that's what kind of led to compacting the unit. And so in my opinion, large products, anything that's large, hard to ship, you run into issues of getting it to the customer. If it's lost, you have a high replacement cost. It comes down to shipping on the ports, there's theft, or if the customer wants to return it, then you've got all this return shipping. So there's just a lot of consequences that come with large products. And so just in terms of me handling the shipments, having the space for inventory, large products just come with a whole different set of parameters. So I tend to like to keep things small. In terms of this design, we had challenges with the console. There are separators in the C5 console that are not in C6. So naturally, we had to figure out, do we have people cut up their console, or do we try and fit the screen, because it's fairly thin, over top of those dividers, and that's the approach we took. In truth, I think this is the best absolute compromise. It allows everything to be reversible. It allows everybody with an OEM console. This clicks in and fits. It's so easy. Our compromise is a little bit of bulk. And so I am going to work on that bezel design even further to try and slim it down, make it look a little bit better fit and smooth to the eye. But I can tell you this is a prototype. And when you see a finished piece out of the mold with all the buttons marked, I mean, it may still have a slight aftermarket look versus like the C6, which looks absolutely OEM. But given the fact of the age of this car and the complexity, and the console has this organic kind of form to it, as to where C6 got into these longer, straighter lines. All the newer GM stuff after like 07 and 08, even the Tahoes, they kind of went to these straighter lines and more modularity, and for obvious reasons I'm sure the GM had. So the C5, it was simpler. The C5 barely happened from GM's perspective. So they were about reducing cost, keeping things simple, reducing parts. The C5 actually had 35% less components than the C4. So it was a lot about cost cutting, reducing parts and components, reducing production costs. So that's the compromise when it comes to the console. I really think that we're on the right track. And if you wanted something like James Davis has, which is a very cohesive look, if you were really motivated to do that, you could take my unit. I'm sure you could graft it in the same exact way and obtain that. But I think the mass customers, as Taj Jukter, who is the chief engineer of C7 and C8, often talked about, it's product bandwidth. It's meeting the broadest range of typical customers and what their needs and wants are. When you get out to the fringes of people who want this very smooth, bespoke or custom look, maybe that's something later. Maybe I offer that option. I don't know, but you really need the core to happen first. So let me talk about challenges and the way that this all worked out in terms of this investment. My perspective when I initiated this kind of contract and agreement with the company that I'm working with was I wanted to do C5 first. They wanted to do C6 first. They looked at it as, X amount of cars, and this is what the cars still cost, and this is what we think the customer has the capability of purchasing, and things like that. I looked at it as C5s already had HVAC units. I think C5s were already, the customer was paying to get custom consoles done for double DINs, and frankly, I think that C5 is kind of typically underrepresented when it comes to the aftermarket versus C6. I felt like leading out with C5 was better. Inevitably, we were splitting a lot of cost and energy, so they won that argument, came out with the C6 first. I obviously have more connection to the C5 community, but I have been on the Corvette forums for a very long time, dating back to 2009, but I was operating under this name Kit, obviously Knight Rider, and Kit was the name of the car, so that was my name on Corvette forum. And I had a few particular people who just became hell-bent on destroying the entire release of the product on the Corvette forums run by internet brands. The person just kind of kept beating the drum. He was contacting and emailing companies, trying to see who I was working with. He contacted the company of a unit that he owns, and what he doesn't realize is he contacted the retail front of an engineering company, essentially. Not that I should have to explain business to people and all that kind of stuff that seem only hell-bent on damaging the reputation of a company that they have nothing to do with or any reason to damage. You're damaging a small business in the United States because of your anger. But essentially, he contacted this company.
engineering companies who build parts and create things like this, typically this is a direct to wholesale or a direct white label type of thing, to where a company will build you whatever product you want. For example, a BMW Z4 and a Toyota Supra, neither are being manufactured by Toyota or BMW. Magnus-Steyr is the core engineering company and the company that actually builds the cars. DNA from BMWs and engineering from Toyota and BMW go in the pot, and they develop the car, but Magnus-Steyr is the production facility manager and everything of those vehicles in Austria. So in this sense, he contacted some retail company that, you know, sold him a particular screen, and because he sees UI similarities, he just went on a damn mission, and really it propagated throughout that entire forum. So the launch and the damage that was done there by this person, it's made me reconsider, I think, a lot of direction with product on the C6 forum, or my involvement in the forum at all from this point forward. So good job damaging a company. Thank you for your contribution to the Corvette community. So the issue is damage in the sell-through of the C6 units will impact the C5, in the sense that the triple knob cars that have the triple knob adjustments in the vacuum system, we need more money to develop that system, because it's very complicated to get the screen to operate those vacuum manual knobs, because obviously you're the energy that diverts that vacuum to move your vent system. If we don't sell through C6, then the triple knob C5 cars are never going to get a unit. So you can thank PM Performance and his contribution. If the damage on Corvette Forum and my investment there to be a sponsor doesn't basically give a return, then it puts the triple knob guys in jeopardy of seeing a product ever. So moving forward on C6 updates, we do have a lot of beta testers. 22 of the 30 have installed their units. We have updated the system multiple times, so if you're a C6 buyer that is waiting and has your units paid for and your order is in, we are looking at maybe 3 or 4 more weeks. We did find some issues with the dual zone controls. The engineers are coming back here. We're bringing them back again July 13th. Right now it's like July 7th or 8th. I can't recall. I just really can't say anything else. This is a very high-risk project. James Davis, I appreciate giving me kind of a lead into it. But, you know, then you have folks on the opposite end like PM Performance who decide that they want to destroy and feel good about themselves for it. So that's it, guys. We got to keep on trucking, keep on fighting. Like I said in the intro, keep banging the gears of life. That's what I do. It's, you know, it's all about bang, bang, bang. Let's keep going. Don't worry about those people. And hopefully it all works out in the end. So catch you on the next one.